Hi, thanks for being here today to watch our conversation on healing together, the impact of female advocacy, a conversation with HealthStream and Skillsoft. It's important to recognize and honor the power of women who make a difference in their teams' lives, their families' lives, their friends' lives, and when in healthcare, their patients' and residents' lives. And today we're going to talk about the impact of female empowerment, mentorship, and advocacy as it relates to workforce development. Supporting our conversation today with extensive backgrounds as executive leaders and women leaders in the workplace, I'm thrilled to welcome Koma Gandy, Vice President of Product Portfolio and Content Development for our expert partner, Skillsoft, and Sneha Oakley, HealthStream's very own Vice President General Counsel. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
So let's get into our conversation. Empowering women in the workplace and in the healthcare workplace requires organizations and their leadership to consider representation, right? Seeing women in positions of authority and expertise can encourage younger generations of women to pursue careers in healthcare and or leadership roles. So I'd love to ask you both, could you share a pivotal moment in your career when mentorship played a significant role in your professional development? How did this mentorship shape your approach to becoming a leader yourself? Sneha?
Sure. It's really hard to think of like that one big moment that has had a significant impact on you. And as I kind of think back to how I started my career 20 years ago to where I am today, I think it's all of those tiny little, and I think Koma used this term the other day, micro moments that we have with our mentors that I think really build and develop you as a leader. So one of the things that I try to be with my team is just really hands off and to let them know that I really trust you. And I believe that you have the talents and the skills to do great work. And so, I've had really positive mentors who have had those really great micro moments that build that confidence in me on how to improve my public speaking, how to work a room and meet new people and help build my network. But I also had those managers in those micro moments who micromanaged me or who made me feel like I wasn't meeting the expectation, and in a negative way. And I think you can kind of turn those things into positive moments with people. And so I try really hard to be that manager that believes in their team, and knows that they can do great work and trusts them so that they feel engaged in the work. They want to give the best that they can, and we can work together in an open and honest way.
I think those are really interesting points where those micro moments where you feel like you're empowered and you feel like you're trusted, or kind of where you can do your best work and create those types of relationships that help you both professionally and in terms of what are the different types of opportunities that you can take advantage of. And I know for me, part of that honest feedback cycle is also recognizing where are the places that are stretch opportunities where perhaps you need that mentorship to help you figure out where you can go, especially if it's a place where you may not have imagined yourself. And I can think of a handful of micro moments that resulted in me being in this particular role where I had been part of a company that had been acquired by Skillsoft and was extremely happy in the role and the team that I had built. But through a series of conversations and really micro moments, a new opportunity was presented. And even though I had been in a particular space and doing something that I really, really enjoyed and loved, this was an opportunity that had shown up where I didn't really think that I was in the process of looking for a new opportunity, but here it was. And those micro moments provided the mentorship and support where I felt like this was a place where I should go and grow my career. And I've been thrilled with the opportunities I've had in this current role that I've had for the last, I guess, 7 or 8 months now. But really, the what you're talking about with the micro moments, those places where you feel like you're being empowered by a great mentor, a great manager, can help open up opportunities that you may not have been able to think of on your own.
Thanks, Koma. Really well said. You're sort of talking about how important it is sometimes for leaders to consider the different unique pathways of success forward. And in order to affect change, leaders and organizations as a whole need to look for their unique pathway forward, including as it relates to promoting gender equality and addressing what might be systemic barriers to women's advancement. So where can one start? If I'm a big organization and I've got a lot of employees, or even if I'm a small company who is working on my growth, what key actions should we be focusing on right now? Koma?
Well, I love looking at data. And I think it's important to have a look at data, but also recognize that there's a story behind it. And one statistic that I think about a lot is this concept that McKinsey put in one of their women's leadership thought leadership papers that discussed this concept of the broken rung, that when it's time to make that shift from an individual contributor to a manager, for every 100 men that take advantage or are presented with the opportunity to become a manager, only 72 women are. And if we're starting off with that broken rung where that individual contributor isn't able to climb that ladder because the rung is either broken, not there, it's been taken away, whatever metaphor may suit, that's a situation that needs to be addressed. Data can give you a lot of information about what's happening in your organization. It doesn't tell the whole story, but if you don't measure it, you're not going to be able to create effective initiatives to be able to address the story that the data is trying to tell you, and you're not going to be able to measure whether or not you've gotten it right.
I think that is absolutely true. I think one of the things at HealthStream that we particularly look at is we try not to do what's trendy in the marketplace, right? Let's make all of these changes that everybody's making because we think that's going to be what's best. We always really look, like Koma said, at the data of our organization. There's no one size fits all solution to build great culture. And I think like looking at your data, seeing where you might have gaps, seeing where you have opportunities is a great way to figure out what's best for your company and building that culture that recognizes everyone as individuals and the importance of, bridging the gaps that you might have that you discover sort of through your data.
Thanks, Sneha. You both have such fabulous careers to lean back on as it relates to your experience and your expertise for female advocacy. And I'd love to ask you both as we close for today, what advice would you give to aspiring advocates and leaders who want to make a meaningful impact in this arena? Sneha?
I think change is hard. And so I would say stay determined, don't give up. Build a community of support. And if there are people that you identify in your company or in your community as leaders who can help affect that change, don't hesitate to reach out. Like that was something that someone once told me when I asked, like, how can I identify and find mentors and how can I get them to approach me? And it was, don't wait for them to come to you, go to them. Like, no one is going to turn down the opportunity to have coffee with someone who wants to talk about your career and how you got to this great place that you are today and learn from you. And so I would say stay determined, seek out mentors, and really keep fighting the good fight.
Yes, Sneha, there's a lot of what you said that really resonates with me because it's often a lot of what you're able to put out there in terms of going to find the mentors, that if you're sitting in the cafeteria or in your cubicle or wherever in your office, the mentor is not going to show up at your door and say, hi, would you like to have a mentor? So some of it is, how do you build that community and how do you build that network? And sometimes networking can get a bad rap. It feels, at its worst, it can feel transactional or opportunistic. But really, it's about building what you mentioned, a community, a group of people that are investing in you. You're investing in the network. A good way that I think about it, is it's not about what the network can do for you, it's what you can do for the network. What can you bring? What can you add? How can you support? And in that way, it becomes less transactional, more of what you mentioned, Sneha, creating a community. And that community can feed you, and then you can draw on the community when you need to be fed. So along the lines, there's going to be a lot of different things that happen disappointments, joys, but if you build that community and build that network, then you'll always have that group of people that can have your back, and then you can have their back when the time comes.
Absolutely.
Koma, Sneha, thank you so much for this wonderfully insightful conversation today. For those watching, we hope you'll share this information with others at your organization as we all work together to foster culture of inclusivity and belonging and improve care outcomes. Thanks for watching.